Now it is.
Okay. Ready?
Is the light on?
It doesn't matter.
It's hard to see.
Yeah, it's not. It's not. Suck in. Suck in.
Opening a zipper? And like, I was like part of the thing by moving, like opening.
Sometimes it makes everything
Like, you know how like zippers go together like this?
For instance, my surroundings
Like
turn into
that.
layers, stacked together.
Everything is over here. And
I also see
like,
these
I can't get
zipper
out of it.
heads
Like, I
some
can't
people
stop
speak of.
unzipping.
Like heads of people
It's like
traveling
everything
through
was
the
like
darkness
a big
like a
zipper that was just like ripping
pulling their
apart.
reality
And like
behind.
every second I was like walking, and like I can feel it coming apart. And then I start like walking over it. And everything I see is part of this, the big zipper thing that's unfolding.
The hallucinations that occur when a person takes the drug known as Salvia Divinorum are characterized by being extremely bizarre and difficult to decipher. Arguably, the most interesting component of the seemingly random hallucinatory activity is that some specific visions appear to users more frequently than others. Common visions include parades, gestures, and a shepherdess. These visions are now referred to by psychonauts as the Salvia Archetypes. Today we're going to explore among the most common archetype of Salvia Divinorum, the zipper. So the Salvia zipper phenomenon is essentially composed of three elements. The first element is the zipper itself, subcomposed of head and teeth. The second is the fabric that is being unzipped, and the third is whatever lies behind that fabric. This archetype can manifest in a number of ways. Some users report seeing common zippers, such as on sweaters and backpacks, unzipping their surroundings. Others report seeing the head of their trip sitter or companion as the zipper. And in some instances, it is their own head which is the zipper. In nearly every case, what is being unzipped is reality as we know it, revealing another reality behind or between what is normally perceived. After taking sufficient hits of a salvia extract, it often begins with the experience of time slowing down, with a shutter-like effect, sometimes clicking until the succession of moments comes to a complete halt. In these cases, whatever is last seen by the user becomes a still image. Everything that was three-dimensional is now two-dimensional. The old reality is flattened into two dimensions, and the image is then able to be rolled, turned, and unzipped, as if it were merely fabric. What is on the other side of this sheet could be the next moment, frozen as another image, the void, or what is infamously known as Salvia Land, a world composed of complex machines and little beings moving around that all somehow feel like they're a part of you. This is why some people have even referred to this archetype as the zipper of space-time. It's pretty cool, zipper. In a video I made nearly 2 years ago, holy shit, I described the Salvia Wheel, a spinning multi-dimensional object that creates all of our possible life experiences and all of our reality. In a lot of ways, this video is the sequel to that vlog, as there have been many accounts of these zippers somehow being a part of the wheel and its functions. The more I thought about all the Salvia archetypes, the more I realized that the wheel, the zipper, the book, and the pages are all together in their own class or subsection. To me, this seemed to suggest something of deeper significance than just symbolism, that these hallucinations may actually be experiences of the broader inner workings of how reality is literally and physically constructed in our brains. I hypothesize that when our perceived three-dimensional reality is compressed into 2 dimensions by the effects of salvia, the 4th dimension associated with time takes the place of the 3rd. And I like to call this phenomenon dimensional compression, and it may explain to a degree what is happening in the salvia visions, allowing us to see a representation of what our sober minds are not equipped to comprehend. This is actually a very similar concept to dimensional reduction, which is a technique of compressing data into easier to digest graphs and fields of study involving high numbers. And I'm pretty sure I didn't come up with dimensional compression. I think it was created by Jared T. Hooft. Anyways, what tends to be shown in these experiences is that these 2D planes, often referred to as plates, tiles, pages, or slices, are not seamlessly bound together, that there are spaces and states in between each moment. Each one of these slices is a moment of time, and when the momentum of time enters a standstill, we are presented with a new direction outside of our slice of space-time, unzipping it as if it were merely clothing. And in trying to create a theory for this highly bizarre phenomenon, of course my theory might be a little bit out there, but bear with me. As I understand it, the best current scientific theory that I see as having strong correlations with the Salvia zipper phenomenon is the fairly popular tenet of quantum string theories called the Holographic Principle. That's right, it's astrophysics time. Physicist Leonard Susskind wrote a paper called The World as a Hologram in the Journal of Mathematical Physics, in which he analyzes what is called the black hole information loss problem, a discovery by Stephen Hawking that black holes emit some radiation over time despite the popular belief that nothing can ever escape from its gravitational pull. Susskind and Hawking had hot debates on whether or not the radiation emitted by black holes could reproduce or store the information that its gravitational pull has sucked into itself, or if it would be completely scrambled and unrecognizable. For Hawking, it was certainly the latter. For Susskind, he maintained that the pull into a black hole could be stored as a flattened and spaghettified version of its original self, that the black hole captured the data of the material object and it would remain intact. In short, Susskind states that the maximum amount of information, which is argued to be the absolute smallest bit of matter there is, that can be stored within a volumetric region, any amount of space, cannot exceed the surface area of that region. What this means is that, according to this principle, we are holographic, a 2D film that encodes three-dimensional space. We're not voxelated cubes, we're pixelated. We were the Flatlanders all along. What does it mean to be encoded by Planckian pixels? To be an emergent sentience out of a random cluster of data? Just tiny microscopic dots on a film smeared across a black hole? The point in space where all matter, not even light, can escape its force, drinking every bit of information at all times and places within the Milky Way galaxy, including my current existential crisis toward it, thus spaghettifying 3D space-time into a two-dimensional hologram along its surface. So what is it in the active compound of Salvia that could pull back the curtain on this illusion that we are living in a three-dimensional existence when we are in fact not? Is it that the complex operations of the human brain that evolved through natural selection to perceive 3D vision in order to survive and navigate the world could be shut down and taken away? Unfortunately, I do not yet possess sufficient knowledge in neurology to investigate this possibility. And current investigations into the possibilities that our minds are in some way holographic, such as the holonomic brain theory, are underdeveloped and often characterized as pseudoscience. There is another possibility, however. Maybe it's not that we are experiencing a truer form of reality when Salvia flattens our world. Instead, it is the Salvia that allows the unconscious to represent or communicate concepts to our mind through symbolic hallucination. To me now, this seems more plausible because while the visions of dimensional compression seems to me to be representative of an actual mathematical phenomenon, the zipper appears as a symbol. Well, that's just my theory anyway. It's just a guess based on incomplete information, and even the holographic principle is still disputed and not very well understood yet. I'll put links in the description if you'd like to learn more about this stuff. So now I'm going to discuss the zipper's symbolic significance. But first let me reiterate my theory of symbolism. I argue that symbolism can act as the language of the subconscious, using imagery that has specific yet vague significance to the consciousness of the individual. When the brain struggles to interpret a highly novel occurrence, such as the flood of Salvinorin alpha rushing your kappa opioid receptors. It will essentially fill in the gaps that allow the mind to regain a sense of what is going on. In relation to this specific archetype, I believe that the kinesthetic effect of the salvia creates the sensation of becoming dimensionally compressed and then being torn apart. The subconscious may then manifest something recognizable and attempt to interpret what's happening. And this is really highlighted by the fact that many who write about the salvia zipper only describe the sensation and perception of being unzipped, unaccompanied by any vision. Cognitive neuroscientist Anil Seth called the brain a prediction engine, and cognitive psychologists say that the brain doesn't see the world as it is, but rather it creates a series of mental models of the world through numerous processes. Insert optical illusion here. Therefore, the sensations of being flattened and then ripped apart could hypothetically produce the experience or visions of zippers. And symbolically, we can find many ways to think about the zipper's meaning. For instance, a post made by Reddit user DNA pointed out the similarities between the zipper phenomenon and DNA replication. Because during DNA replication, there's a motor protein called helicase that unwinds the double helix, and sometimes it is referred to as the zipper enzyme. And when DNA is split, the one half replicates exactly, and the other half is replicated with a higher probability of mutation. And that's actually how evolution works. I really doubt that the salvia visions are somehow connected to DNA processes. However, we can draw a connection in pursuit of a DNA zipper symbolic meaning. For me, it vaguely represents an expression of coding and processes of splitting into two near identical copies. The eternal fractal branching out of our probable outcomes, experiencing gradual novelty as it bifurcates. Or perhaps the zipper represents the universe getting ready to give you a mindfuck. When it comes down to its symbology, its meaning is really more personal than it is universal, I think. All I can say to try to conclude this rambling escapade is the fact that visionary archetypes like zippers and books occur so frequently is extremely interesting to me, and maybe the answers to what causes these effects are not as grandiose as they appear. That it is just a neat trick that our brains produce, not a coincidence, but still not an earth-shattering explanation either. However, to the individual, the direct experience of these visionary occurrences are anything but mundane. They are dramatically profound, sometimes amazingly life-changing, and other times sadly traumatizing. We need to take great caution in not only how we use this substance, but also how we discuss this topic with others, and those who have experienced it. In the future of this channel, I will be analyzing more Salvia archetypes, but I also want to make some more videos on our emotional relationship to Salvia, so stay tuned for that. Because being torn apart by zippers is no walk in the park, and not everyone feels like life has been enriched after the fact. Thank you so much for watching this video! It has been in production, being written and rewritten, picked up and put down since the Salvia Wheel essay was released 2 years ago. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a like, subscribing if you haven't already, and leaving a comment below of what you think. Whether you agree, disagree, or want to share your Salvia experience, you know we'd all love to read it. All those actions are the free ways to support this channel, and it helps out a lot. If you want to be a financial contributor to this channel, like these fine patrons here, you can hop on over to patreon.com/interbeingart to become a monthly patron at any price you set. Or you can make a one-time donation to paypal.me/interbeingart. It really means a lot and any little bit helps. Either way, thank you all very much for listening. Take care.